Hey everybody, Melissa here with melissaburkheimer.com, and today we have a special guest with us. Meet my accountability partner, Katie Adler.
Hi.
And I wanted to talk to Katie today about her journey through starting her business and challenges she's overcome, because I know a lot of my fans were asking about that. And Katie happened to be my accountability partner in a project I just completed with Rachel Luna. So I really thought you guys would appreciate her insights. So we're just going to get right in. Katie, do you want to
Right.
tell us real quickly what you do and that all that fun stuff?
Sure. Just very quickly, I'm Katie Adler-VO.com. My work is voiceover, and 2 years ago, I decided to start my home studio, but that morphed into EnglishWithKatie.com. So for the past year, I've been focusing on creating my second business.
Gotcha. So can you
Here in
can
Tokyo.
oh, gotcha. So she's in Tokyo. So can you walk us through sort of where you were at when you started your business, what your mindset was, where you were at in your life, and how you have got to be where you are now?
Yes. And when I started my business, when I really started thinking about what I wanted to do, it was 2010, and my back had gone out. And I was voiceover freelance, but here in Japan, we don't really have to do anything, any marketing like you do in the United States. So the agents took care of all of that. I didn't even have a website. But a lot of times it takes something intense to move us to the next phase because it's really scary to move forward and to move into something new. And our education system and actually everything that we grow up with doesn't really prepare us to be an entrepreneur. So there I was, my back was out, I couldn't walk, and I was in this environment that was messy and disorganized. So that's it. That was the turning point. I said, my life is changing. That happened on a Monday. That Sunday, I called Constance Arnold, who has a radio show on the Law of Attraction radio network, and I'd been listening to her for about a year and a half or 2 years. And I thought, I'm getting a coach. Michael Jordan has a coach. Bon Jovi has a coach. All of the great people have coaches. I'm getting a coach. And that was really a turning point for me. So decided that I was going to have a home studio and do pay for play on the internet and get jobs from all over the world. Well, just kind of slowly moved into that. Discovered teleseminars. We didn't really know about those here in Japan. Listened to tons of them. 2011, January, started taking my first online class.
Yay!
And then 2012 said, wait a minute, I really want to do English with Katie. I started out in the English language teaching field here in Japan, and I have a lot of information, and it's a huge market. And creating online products, I still get to use my voice and my home studio.
Awesome. So, can you kind of walk me through where you're at, like within the last 30 days? What, as a business owner, have you learned, or what lessons have you learned? Even, you learned all those things 2 years ago. What have you overcome in the last 60 to 30, or even, 48 days? We'll see.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I think what's important about your question is that in the last 30 days, in the last 10 days, in the last 5 days, in the last hour, you can always be overcoming something. That process is never going to change as long as you are an entrepreneur, a solopreneur. Even if you're in a company, that's the way you should be thinking. And so in the last 30 days, what's changed for me is I took a class with Rachel Luna, the one that we were in together, and I really found my hustle power, which is performance. Now, I have been trying to wear every single hat in my company, do all the secretarial, all the, designing of this, creating of this, and focusing on what I do best. And then delegating as much as I can, as much as I can afford to, has really helped me a lot. And the other thing is doing one day, one list, and having that list not have a hodgepodge of different activities on it. I'm doing a launch right now, and I'm creating my 5-day free mini course to promote my launch, to get signups, and I'll be doing that twice in April. And then in the end of April, I'm starting the online program, my first program.
Yay!
Yeah, it's very exciting. So really, really, really narrowing down my focus instead of being all over the map, and I'm getting more done than I've ever gotten done in my whole life. And my living space is beautiful
Gotcha.
too.
That's so awesome, Katie. I love that. Congratulations. Now, I put a little poll out to my fans yesterday on Facebook, and I said I'm interviewing an entrepreneur about how she started her business. What questions do you want me to ask? And one of them said that they want to know what your why is, because when they were able to find their why, everything started to kind of click. So, what is your why?
Yeah, my why, there are actually a few whys why I'm doing this. And one of the big things, the first thing that got me doing this was, freelance work is iffy. And so there was this idea of, wait a minute, I want to really be in control of what I can do for my income and how I can create my own life. I want to use my strengths to create my business, my bank account, my everything. So financial reasons were my first big why. The second why is that I really see and feel a need for what I can give, for the service that I can provide to Japanese English language learners. There is a definite lack for my talents, and that is what I want to fill. And the third why is, when I did the Stephen Covey book, 7 Habits, this was about 7 years ago, I created a mission statement and an intention. And that intention was to be a full-time, professional, earning well and providing for the people in my care. So those are 3 of my big whys as to why I'm doing this.
Gotcha. That's awesome. I love that. Another question we had was, how do you overcome challenges and obstacles? And we may have covered that in the question before this one, but I think maybe you can dial in on maybe one challenge you had in the last week or so.
Well, I think, one of the biggest ways that you can help yourself overcome challenges and obstacles is to understand that you are always going to have challenges and obstacles. So that when they show up,
Sorry, I had to.
a given. So that when they show up, you don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
And one of the things that helped me was about 5 years ago, I was in the business section of the Seattle airport. And I found the Harvard Business Review magazines and books, and I started reading those. And in fact, this year for Christmas, I asked my father for a 1-year subscription to the Harvard Business Review magazine, the online and digital version, because they have such great case studies in there.
Oh, yeah.
And what I found, yes, and when I read about corporate America dealing with all of these issues, these problems, these difficulties, I just feel so good, because it's like, okay, I have problems, I'm normal. So one of the very basic foundation that you can do is to say, oh yeah, obstacle, problem, okay, let's get that out of the way because that's a given. What's the solution? So what I do is instead of thinking about the problem and what's the problem, let me write it down, let me think about this, I just do one sentence, need to launch my project. Need to launch my online program. Okay, what's the solution? I only look at solutions now because I know the problem inside and out. And really, so many studies have shown that when you start talking about problems, the feeling that comes inside of your body is just yuck. And when you're in a space of yuck, you can't find solutions.
I love this.
One line for the problem and then start solutioning.
I love, 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 love this. This is so good, Katie. Sorry, I gotta breathe for a minute. And I had one more question from one of my fans. She is a single mom who has a massage therapy business, and one of her obstacles is she really, really prefers to deal with her potential clients over the phone. And people these days want to email, they want to text. And for her, it's just not that personal experience. And one of my clients is a flower shop, and I deal with the same thing with her. She wants people to call on the phone. So what would you recommend? What is a good way for her to gently reach out to her potential client base and say, hey, come work with me, but call me. Call me maybe. I don't know. What would you recommend for her?
Yeah, and I think honestly, that is just such a great question. And the first thing that I would recommend is, when we're in business, providing a service and providing ease and comfort and accessibility to our clients is really the utmost that we want to do. So what I would recommend is that, first of all, she look at what her resistance is to email, to what her resistance is to the whole process of having a discussion by emails, and that maybe she can experiment, first of all, with being really friendly in an email. Hey, hi, how are you doing? Thank you so much. It's great to touch base with you. Loving this. Here's what I can do for you. Hey, I'm happy to talk with you on the phone. Keep the email friendly. I always add a personal message, a personal touch. The other thing, too, though, is that she can, if it's possible, ask her clients for their phone numbers and ask for permission to call them. Or she can cold call. She can just call and be friendly and upbeat. The important thing, though, is to just always maintain that friendliness, that upbeatness, and approach people that way. So I would say, great, if she wants to touch base with people by telephone, do it. But the other thing is, we are in an age where email and texting is really taking over. And can she find a way to make peace with both mediums so that she's opening herself up to receiving all the benefits and abundance from the universe that is there for her?
That is so good. Well, I want to thank you so much, Katie, for taking the time to chat with me today. You can probably hear my dog barking. I'm so sorry about that. So,
Hi, doggy.
oh gosh, he's naughty. But anyways, this has been so insightful. And is there anything else you'd like to say before we say bye-bye?
There is. There's something that I was thinking about for this call. And I know a lot of people have families when they're doing this entrepreneurial stuff. And my advice to you is, as much as possible, bring your family on board. Keep them notified of what you're doing. Even kids who are 5 years old, have them draw a poster, have them help you with something. Most of our lives are spent in business. And the sooner we can get our children on board with business and loving it and going out and creating their own opportunities, the happier your home life is going to be, because I really don't think that business and family can be separated. There's just so much time spent in both. So I think if you can find a really holistic approach and a really family-oriented approach to getting everybody on board with what you're doing as a business person, I think it'll make everything a lot smoother for you.
Ooh, Katie, that's so good. That's so good. Well, anyways, thank you so much for doing this. I think your insight has been more than helpful for some of the people who were having some struggles, and I know that you were always my backbone when it comes to the program, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do, Katie? And she's like, Melissa. She's just so natural at this, so I thought she would be a really, really good fit for you guys. So thank you again, Katie. Can you tell us? Can you? Oh, yes. And can you tell us real fast, Katie, online where we can find you again?
Sure. I'm at katieadler-vo.com, and my infant website is englishwithkatie.com, and I have a new website coming out in about 2 weeks.
Yay! And are you on Twitter or Facebook or anything fun like that?
I am. Katie Adler is Facebook, and English with Katie is my Twitter.
Gotcha. All right, well, have a good night. It's nighttime in Japan right now, and it's morning here in the States. And thank you again so much, and this was fun.
Okay, you too. Take care, Melissa. Thank you.
You too. My free training series for social entrepreneurs is coming up soon. Be sure to sign up for email updates so you don't miss out, because it's gonna be awesome.